and business processing getting you down. I know this time of year can be super tough for a lot of advisors because it's physically exhausting time of year. It's a mentally exhausting time of year. Everything on your calendar feels really, really full. And then you add in bringing all the Christmas magic to your family and um, RMDs, Roth conversions, qualified charitable distributions, unrealized gains, tax harvesting, year end forms, all of the things. And at the same time, you're starting to think about the next year and what you can do to set yourself up for success and business plan and goal set and all of those things. It can be a lot. And it lands all at the same time of the year that you're also craving margin and relaxation. It's starting to get dark outside early. Maybe if you're somewhere like I am, it's starting to get a little chilly and you're going into that kind of hibernation mode. It can be a lot. So today I want to give you 6 simple ways that you can plan now while you're in the thick of it or just after to make next year's year-end business processing a little bit smoother, a little bit simpler, and maybe a little bit, I don't know if easier is the right word, but maybe more strategic because we don't want December to feel like reoccurring trauma in your business every single year. Okay, so the first thing I would love for you to consider is to set year end expectations with your clients very, very early. So, in my own financial planning practice, one of the biggest mistakes that I used to make was waiting until December to act like December is busy. So we gave our clients a very clear deadline. So we kind of the solution was, right? We gave our clients a very clear deadline, months and months in advance. We would pick somewhere around the second Friday of December, so somewhere around the 10th or 12th, and we would let our clients know that this is the last day of the year that we can receive something in order to guarantee processing by year end. So if you're inside of our group coaching program or our group coaching alumni community, I will share with you the letter that we sent to our clients. But the essence of it was like, hey, I hope you can appreciate there's a lot of stuff that we're doing for you behind the scenes as your financial planner at the end of the year. So if there's anything that you need done, we will need it by, I hope you can appreciate, we need it by this date, or we cannot guarantee that it'll be processed before year end. That one sentence really did adapt and it changed our clients' behavior. So we would send out letters to our clients. We would start working on stuff, especially for our business owning clients. We would start working on stuff months in advance and sending letters, emails, everything to let them know the last day, even changing your email signature. The last day that we can process business for 2025 is December 10th or December 12th. So please plan accordingly. My director of operations used to use the saying that everybody's lack of poor planning is not our emergency. So we made sure our clients could plan in advance. And then we're going to talk about some other strategies, but build in some buffer into your schedule to accommodate some of those more emergency style situations. But year end becomes really chaotic when everything is last minute and treated as urgent. And so it's our job to get ahead of some of that and to start deciphering what can be done earlier versus what has to be done at the end of the year. So, step number 2, or idea number 2 for you to consider, is to move your thinking upstream. So, one of the worst combinations that I can imagine is tons of business that needs to get done, high emotional pressure too, and then immovable deadlines. That is December in a nutshell. So instead, we want to do some of this cognitive work early. What can we start preparing in October, November? How can we stay current and up to date with things so that we're just tweaking at the end? So, a couple of things to consider is, can we do some of your Roth conversion modeling in October or November? And if you have clients that have weird, funky situations, get it all in there, get what you think it's going to be, even maybe even have your team prep the paperwork for that, and then have to make a last minute tweak. Or if there isn't a change, you're ready to go with the Roth conversion. Gain analysis. Can we do a tax loss harvesting strategy in November. Are you going to get it perfect? No, but it's better than not getting it done at all. What can we do to work on qualified charitable distributions earlier in the year? Again, October, November, setting aside time on your calendar right now for those months to do some of these things. Otherwise, it all starts to pile up and feel like a little extra. So think about how you can make December more execution focused versus the decision making. So if you can move up some of that cognitive work, some of that decision making work for your clients, and then December literally just be about the execution of it. That is, to me, that is gold. You want to be just simply executing what you've already decided. Okay, number three, put a year end, put year end on the calendar like it's a project. So this one is huge. And I know I didn't do this for a really, really long time. We do this, yeah, I probably talked about it with you guys at tax season as well. But go into your calendar right now and block out actual days at the end December of 2026. Block out those days to work on business processing. And I'm not talking like vague placeholders. I'm talking about real on the calendar, no client meeting days designated exclusively for business processing. So think of it kind of like a year-end product launch. You wouldn't schedule client reviews all day if you were trying to launch a product, or you wouldn't add a new random project during a launch, right? So why do we treat our year end like it's just another week? Now, this is also an argument to have a really good client service model and a really good client service calendar, all of which are things that we work on inside of our group coaching program. So if you're like, Libby, I don't even know where to start with that, consider joining us for our next round of group coaching, which does start January 15th of 2026. But the other thing, so number four, but if it matters enough to stress you out, it matters enough to put it on the calendar. Same thing with tax season. We used to get clients rolling in at the end of April 14th, wanting to like set up an IRA or make some changes. And it was just always mayhem. So we stopped holding client meetings a week before tax day so that we could accommodate all of our business owners, all of those, last minute requests. Okay, number four, punt what you can to January on purpose. So this one can feel scary, but it's actually really, really powerful. Not every new client or referral that reaches out to you needs to start in December. Not every opportunity has to be forced across the finish line in the last week or two of the year. In fact, forcing too much in the month of December actually results in sloppy execution, burned out teams, and a January that you're going into starting with that sense of exhaustion as opposed to being in that place of excitement and momentum, right? We don't want to show up in the new year burned out. We want all that new year, new you energy. So, some of the healthiest practices that I see intentionally shift onboarding new opportunities, doing referral events, doing client experience things as much as you want to do a client event in December. Sometimes it's just a little too much. And you can reframe to a new year opportunity or a new year event, right? As opposed to, and your clients are frankly feeling the same way you are. So there's that. So you're not saying no to growth. I'm not saying no to growth or no to these new clients or new prospects or cool events that might generate more business. I'm just saying not now. So saying no to adding on to the chaos is really, really helpful. Okay. Number five, redefine what winning at year end actually looks like. This part is especially important if you're tied to production thresholds, payout bands, conference qualifications, awards, or even the revenue that you set for January, reset revenue goals. Okay. I see so many advisors really pushing themselves and pushing their teams through absolute misery in December just to hit these specific numbers. And I can remember doing this in my own practice, trying to push all of this business through in December to qualify for a different payout band or to qualify for a different conference. And then guess what? We qualified. And then next year, we were doing the same thing come in December. And one year I finally said, enough, no more, that's enough. What whatever happens, happens. Wherever the chips fall is where they fall. And it's kind of the same vein as pushing off revenue until the next year. So that, I don't know, I always did this in my business too, like, oh, well, we don't want to make that money this year. We want to make it next year. And then we do the exact same thing at the end of the next year. Well, we don't want to make that money this year. We'll put on next year's tax season. And it ends up just being, excuse me, almost like this silly game that you play. And same thing with these payout bands, conference qualifications. Look, I get it. I get it. But one of the ways to step out of chaos is to just say, no, thank you, instead of trying to push the business on to next year and then having that reoccurring nightmare happen again next December. Just pick a year and let everything fall where it falls. Let everything process the way that it's supposed to process. And then you can get into a rhythm of that just being your norm. And all of the math works out the same, minus the crazy year end push to make all of those things happen. So sometimes the healthiest move is letting one year just not be the year that you force all of that year end stuff. I shouldn't say you have to, you get to build a business that actually works to support the lifestyle that you want. And I know for me as a mom that I don't want my lifestyle being at the end of the year, everything goes bananas. I'm not getting the house decorated for the holidays. I'm not ahead on my Christmas shopping. I'm, falling behind on seeing the friends and doing the things and the extended family and all of the stuff that happens around this time of the year, regardless of which holiday you celebrate. It's a crazy time. And anything that we can do to remove pressure and, stress from ourselves is a decision that we actually get to make. So I want you to make decisions that work with your life and not against your nervous system. Nobody wants a super stressed out dad or mom or wife or husband or brother, sister, daughter, whatever. Nobody wants you to be burned out and stressed out the night the big man comes, right? This, this I know. Nobody wants that. Okay. And finally, this is a really good one. Do a post-year debrief while the pain is still fresh. So right now you're in it. I get it. And there's the natural inclination to want to push this off till next year and do a debrief. What I would suggest is just creating a brain dump of like December pain points. If I call it friction, right? What is all the friction that's happening for you in the month of December? And I want you to document everything while it's fresh, right? Because it's so easy for the calendar to turn over and you're on to next year and next year's goals and next year's excitement. And all of the pain that you're in right now disappears and goes away, which is great. But also, you tend to forget all of the little stuff that was getting you down or dragging you down. So, I want you to ask yourself these questions. What feels frantic? What got rushed, but maybe shouldn't have? What piled up that all of a sudden I had to deal with at the last minute? And what could realistically be moved to either earlier in the year or the following year? Year end, it doesn't improve by accident. It improves when you think about it like a process, right? When you think about it as part of the natural flow, the ebb and flow that is running a financial planning business. So if December feels really heavy to you right now and really messy and really, really hard, and you feel like you're drowning, I want you to hear this. You're not behind, you're not broken, and most definitely you are not alone. And I want to empower you to do it a little differently next year. Next year can be different if you're willing to set earlier expectations with your clients. I'm talking put a letter through compliance in August, get it sent out in September or October. Let your clients know, update your email signature block, send out those blast emails in October and November, letting clients know. Like, make no mistake about letting clients know when your year-end processing ends. We want to move the thinking work upstream. How can we do decision making in October, November, so that we can just do execution in December? I want you to go in now and just protect the calendar space and give yourself and your team permission to just say no to client meetings that pop up during that week. Maybe you can give yourself a few VIP time slots where you can make available for really, truly emergencies in financial planning, and there's not very many. And I want you to let go if you are in a broker dealer or one of those situations where you do feel like you're kind of forced to push through and forced to push through some production. I want you to redefine what success looks like for you and how you want to feel coming into the holiday season and how you want to feel starting next year. The other thing that I noticed when we were doing a year-end push for production is that in January, all of a sudden things felt a little scarce, right? All of that pipeline had been pushed through, and all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, we got to get to work. So, future you, if you think about who you are, December 2026 you will be so grateful that you paused right now, here in December of 2025, and put some of these things in place. Thank you so much. I hope you guys found this helpful. And if you're in it, you've got this. You're going to make it. You're going to do it. And if there's anything I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to ask. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week.